see is signs. All I see is dollar signs. Oh, money on my mind. Money on my mind.
Good morning, everyone. It is November 27th, 2016. It is time for another red hot covered call video. Thank you for finding me. However you found me, I think you're going to like what we have to say. I love the covered call strategy. I love being the house. I love dictating the terms. I love picking up crumbs, trade after trade after trade, and it's working. It's working for me, and I know with a financial education, it'll work for you too. Got to get that financial education. It took me 2 years to really get it down to where it feels and flows like water to me now. Okay? So get that financial education, get that experience. Now, thank you for coming to my YouTube channel. Please hit subscribe. I think you'll like the videos I do. And I do them a lot. Maybe too much. Hey, look, let's get right into it. I hate to blab about the channel. So let's talk a little bit today about how I look at covered calls as the poor man's real estate. Okay? For me, you'll hear me in my videos talk about building an empire, building a covered call empire, covered call millionaire mindset. Hey, I think big. If you're going to be in this game, I need to think big. Okay? Now, I do it one crumb at a time, but that's my mindset. And when I have that mindset, I'm going to learn. I'm going to watch videos like this, like others do, and I pick up little things. And one of the things that I picked up was the fact that writing covered calls is very similar to real estate. You know, real estate, the idea behind real estate, and I've done a little presentation here. Real estate, and I'm trying to be brief, but real estate is, the idea of real estate, you know, rental income is very similar to covered call writing. Okay? You buy real estate, you buy that one piece of property, you're looking to have rental income so you could then have another rental income, and you build an empire. Okay? You know, if we walk out to the street and we ask 10 people how real wealth is built in this country, most people would say owning real estate. And I would agree, most of the super rich in this country own real estate. Now, I'm thinking of this saying, wow, you know, covered call writing is sort of very similar. The comparisons are right there. Okay? We want to build that monthly income with real estate. We can build that monthly income writing covered calls. But here's the difference. And this is where they're similar, but they're separate. And I think they're in our favor. Okay? Look at this. We buy real estate to rent for income. We buy a stock to sell a covered call to make the monthly income. Okay, sort of similar there. Okay. Obviously, you could see by the screen, we're going to rent monthly to make the income. With the stocks, we're sort of going to rent our stocks to somebody to buy at a certain price for a certain amount of time. Most of the time, that's a month. We collect the income, the premium. And then when that option date expires, we then write another monthly covered call. In the case of real estate, of course, somebody gets in, they have a lease, they're going to pay you the monthly income. It's not a month-to-month basis, but concept's still the same. Covered call advantages, though. I love the covered call advantages because I'm thinking, hey, man, I don't have a couple hundred G's to enter the real estate game. I may not even own a house. How am I going to convince my family to buy a house when I can't own a house, to rent it for a couple grand a month? And then I have to make sure I bought on the right side of the street. So the covered call advantages for me are, one, a smaller investment to enter the game. You know, you use Microsoft an example, which I always do. Microsoft, you know, right now about $60 a share. You only need 100 shares to be in the game. To get the experience, that's $6,000. Now, $6,000 could be a lot for somebody, but when you compare that to real estate, okay, much smaller investment. Real estate's going to cost you 10, maybe 3 to 5% to enter the game with a down payment. Then you're taking on the leverage of owning that piece of real estate. So you get the smaller investment required to enter the game, getting the experience. Then you have the flexibility to buy different properties, quote unquote properties. You know, I look at these companies as properties, right? And look, if you buy a piece of real estate on the wrong side of the street, you're stuck with it, okay? Covered call writing, you're not. The expiration date is essentially the day that limits everything. You could say, look, that investment didn't go right. It's not right for me. The risk isn't there. I could sell the shares, whether you won or lost on the previous trade, get into another piece of property or another stock. You don't like Microsoft this month, you could buy Nike next month. You don't like that, you can get into Disney. Different game in real estate. You buy that property that's 300 grand and you did not pick. Think of the process to unravel that trade. Okay? With covered call writing, you don't have tenant issues. You know, you rent a piece of property, you have tenants, you have people that are obligated to pay you. Hey, some people don't pay. Okay? Rental properties have maintenance issues. You might get that phone call in the middle of the night saying the water heater blew up. Okay? Covered call writing, you don't have that. There's other risks, and we'll talk about those, but look, we want to keep that investment nice and small to get into the game. We want to have the flexibility to buy different properties so we can sort of find that perfect property, limited leverage, okay? Then my number one advantage, and I love this, my number one advantage, and I just talked about it, is read the screen, pause the screen. Covered calls allow us to enter the game with as little as 100 shares. Look, I've talked about this before. Experience is the key here. Look, I can tell you how to ski down a mountain for a year, but until you ski down a mountain, you don't know how to ski down a mountain. You just don't. But the minute you do ski down that mountain, you know how to ski down a mountain. Trust me. You start to build that wealth of knowledge and understand the financial education needed. Okay? With covered call writings, you could do this cheaply. And I use Microsoft as an example because, you know, there's also a side of this, just as in real estate. You have to pick your property well. You have to pick your company well. Okay? So I love the number one advantages of covered call writing, you know, and a common theme. And hey, I think big, but I think one crumb at a time. Build your empire one crumb at a time. You know what I mean by crumbs. I love the fact that we could pick great companies. We could pick just a 40, 50, 60 cent crumb. We make that time and time and time again with multiple properties, right? Multiple companies, and we can start to build our empire. You get your financial education, you get your experience, we can do this, okay? Whatever motivates you to get that financial education and experience, to me, that's all good, okay? Forget the others. I've had feedback where they say, hey, look, man, covered call, what are you talking about? You make a couple pennies on premium, you ain't building no empire. Well, guess what? With every little success, I start to build that covered call empire. If anything, it's in my mind because it motivates me. I talk to people time and time again. They lose the motivation. And when they lose the motivation, they sit on their cans. They do nothing. Okay? They let it get by them. Okay? So use that motivation, one crumb at a time. Build your empire. So I hope you learned something. I hope, if anything, this motivated you. And I'll tell you what, this is sort of the core basis for me to keep this going, to build my empire, whatever that means to me, whether that means in my mind, in my wallet, in my self-esteem. You know, building the covered call empire is a mindset that I like that keeps me in the game. And hey, in the case of covered call writings, because there's a smaller investment versus real estate, I can enter the game, I can get that experience, I can feel empowered. So I hope you like my video. I want you to click that like button, please. Click the like button. And I also want you to subscribe if you haven't. I'm going to do a couple more on the poor man's real estate, and I hope you come back. So until next time, I hope all your covered calls are profitable.
All I see is signs, all I see is dollar signs.